today's edition of the Tuesday Dojo. So, welcome in everybody.
Hi.
Got some great agents today. We've got Kristen and we've got Penny. So, we have one agent on either end of the spectrum here, a tenured agent and a newer agent. So, that'll be to our advantage. We'll get to see both ends of the spectrum as far as opinions and input on the subject. So, today's subject is going to be, what do clients want? And specifically, a really common question we get is when somebody's calling in, they say, I want a better plan. What does that mean? What does that even mean? That could mean a million different things to a million different people. I want a better plan. What? How so? And so some of the things that common reasons why what they mean by better is sometimes they mean a plan that has a better doctor's network. Sometimes they are having problems having their doctors accept their new plan, or maybe they accept it now, but they won't accept it next year. And we're talking about advantage plans here, obviously. Sometimes they've been hearing on TV about new benefits like the food card or dental coverage that they're not currently getting, and that's what they mean by better. So we kind of have to figure that out, because sometimes they don't even know what they mean by better. So we have to kind of poke and prod and try to figure that out for them, help them figure it out together. So let's kind of go subject by subject, I guess.
Okay.
So like, for example, if somebody's saying that they want more dental coverage, right? What's a good question, Penny, that you would ask to be able to determine, exactly maybe how much dental they need? Like, what's a good question to get that out of them?
Well, one of the big things would be, do you have any procedures you need that are coming up or that need to be scheduled? Because that's a big one, and find out exactly what it is or what procedure they want to have that they think they can find coverage for. There aren't that many, certainly hardly any, it seems like, advantage plans that have implants available on them, but that is something that people are interested in. So then you have to really make sure that you can find one, if there is one in their area that has the dental implants, if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, correct. That'll get the right. What's your dental health? Describe your dental health to me. That's is a good one. I think that seems to kind of get them to open up, an open-ended question. And sometimes, they think they need more dental coverage, even though their dental health is really good and all they're getting is their 2 cleanings a year and their exams and x-rays, and that's it. I think sometimes we can assume, or it's easy to assume, that if somebody says, oh, I need more dental coverage or I need better dental coverage. Well, sometimes it may just be because somebody told them that they do, or somebody told them that they have more dental coverage than they have right now, not even thinking, well, do I even really need it?
Right.
Sometimes they, something gets into their head and it's not really, very logical. They just want that. And so we kind of have to explain to them, okay, well, if you want, there's always a give and take with these plans. You really like your coverage now, you want more dental. Well, that might take away your food card benefits that you're getting, or you might have to change your doctors. Are you willing to give up your doctors for more dental coverage that really there's not a need for?
I find some people, the plan that they're on with their dental coverage, the in-network dental providers are 50 or 60 miles away, and they have like lots of dentists close by. However, none of them are on that network. So sometimes you have to be find out what network what their plan, what network it is, or just call their dentist with them on the phone and find out what plans they take before you help with dental, because it may not help them at all to change plans with higher dollar amount if their dentist isn't there. And they all are network plans. You have to use the dental network provider or you don't get that benefit.
True. So. That's very true, because as you may have noticed, Kristen, or may not have noticed, since you're fairly new, there's no way to really search for a dentist in these advantage plans. They don't run like networks like doctors and hospitals do. So a good question to ask someone is, do you already have an established dentist? Um, some of them do and some don't. If they do, okay, then right, really the only way to know for sure, unless the client has already done some research to know if that dentist accepts like whatever plan you're getting ready to pitch to them, is right, jump on the phone all together and just hear it from someone there at the office. Do you accept this plan, or what plans do you accept? Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's as simple as that. I've had that be the linchpin in the sale of an Advantage plan. That was so important to them, that they love their dentist and they've been with them since they were young and they weren't going to go anywhere else. They were the family dentist, and we couldn't find anything on that dentist website. We couldn't find anything, obviously, in the network and with the plan for dentists. So we hopped on the phone together, and turns out in that particular case, he said, we don't accept any dental well, we don't, there's none that we accept in particular. If they have dental coverage, we'll accept it, basically. So we had to make sure we put them with a PPO, and that fixed the problem right there.
Oh,
so
thankfully.
so we were able to close it right then and there on one call. And never feel that, whenever you can avoid the, hey, we'll schedule a callback, line. If you can avoid that at all costs, that's recommended, right? And that's something you can do really easily, as far as just jumping on the phone and getting in touch with the dentist. Usually the front office person can tell. I've rarely had anybody say, oh, well, let me get you to my billing department. Or usually these dentist officers are so small that the person answering phone, they're pretty knowledgeable about all this stuff. So, and that we didn't waste any further time, and without much ado, we signed them up right then and there, and they felt confident about it, because that was their objection was about their dentist, of all things. That was the most important to them.
Yeah.
So that was an easy thing to overcome on that one call. So that's a great question. And so what if they say they need major dental work? The question we want to ask sometimes is, has a dentist told you that you have to have this work done, or do you just know or suspect that a lot of work has to be done, right? Because that can sometimes, with these plans, be the difference of a waiting period with coverage too, or even standalone plans, because some people will say, oh yeah, I need a cap, I need a crown, I need a bridge, I need dentures. And the question is, does your dentist tell you that you had to do this? So that indicates something pre-existing and could lend itself to a waiting period of some kind. Or if they just have an idea, they're like, no, my teeth are literally falling out of my mouth. I know I need a bunch of stuff. Nobody's told me, I haven't been to a dentist. That's the problem. Actually, that almost kind of works in their favor if the dentist hasn't already diagnosed them with gum disease, or needing something particular that's not on their medical file. That might actually work to their advantage. So that's why I always ask, right? Because there's different rules with different dental coverages in different states. So that's always a good question to ask, and that helps them sort it out, based on their needs and what they think they want, or what they know they want, and are we really meeting their needs, right? Because there's never a one size fits all when it comes to any of these benefits, really. But digging in and, again, making sure you're getting them what they want, and making them kind of make it apparent for them to know what it is they're really asking for. Does it really make any sense what they're asking for, right? Another thing, what about like vision coverage? That's always a common thing I'll ask. Usually dental and vision coverage, I'll ask them, are the next two things, as far other than their doctors and their meds. That'll be the next subject I bring up. Vision, the question I ask them is, do you have any vision needs? Because that can be pretty broad. That's another open-ended question you can ask them. And what's a common response you get to a question like that about vision stuff?
A lot of people either tell you like they already have glasses, or they know their eyes are going bad and that they need to find something to set up before they get too bad.
Exactly. And sometimes these people have gone years and years without glasses, or just kind of with their broken glasses taped together, and they're like, oh gosh, I could really use a pair of glasses. So my question after is, well, do you have vision needs? Yes. Well, could you use a new pair of glasses? Because as we've known, and as I'm sure you've seen enough of these plans to know, it's fairly standard to have some free money for some glasses or contacts built into that. And usually I get to be the bearer of wonderful news that, hey, you know what? You need a new pair of glasses. There's $200 free money built in to get you a pair of glasses. We're going to get you a pair of glasses. And usually they're like, oh, that's wonderful. Anything you can point out, that will make their life better. I love to deliver that great news.
Right.
I always have to be very tactful about maybe the not so fun news, but it's, hey, all day, every day, I will deliver the great news for them. Usually they're super happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can get their eye exam at no cost. That's pretty standard benefit there. Also, if they mention they have vision needs, okay, well, do you wear glasses or contacts? Do you have ophthalmological? Yeah, we're going to go with that. That's how you say that. Needs as far as your vision is concerned, because if that's the case, if they're seeing an ophthalmologist, then that's covered typically by their health plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not having to use those benefits on, maybe if they want to get some glasses, yeah, they can get their eyes checked at the ophthalmologist, but they don't have to maybe use up their dental vision hearing money on that.
Right.
It can be covered by Medicare Part B, and a lot of times that's a really common thing that people don't know, is that because an ophthalmologist treats disease of the eye,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually covered by Medicare Part B. And if they have a plan, a supplemental that has a deductible, that would maybe possibly be applied to their deductible, but they don't have to have a separate dental vision hearing policy to get that taken care of. Again, maybe for the purpose of just getting some glasses, if they even need any, but a lot of times diabetics, if they don't wear glasses, then just the ophthalmology, the routine,
Right.
because, when they're diabetics, they're going in every handful of months just to keep an eye on their
Right.
vision and their eye pressure, things like that. So that's a common thing that people don't know. You can point out to them. Then there are some kind of just off the wall things that I've been noticing, and I'm sure you've been noticing, that these people benefits that are being offered on these plans that you definitely see them hyped up in the commercials. And I can give a few examples. The food card,
Mm-hmm.
the flex card, even
Mhm.
though people don't quite understand what that means. I think they just assume it's a prepaid debit card to spend on whatever you want.
Yeah.
But so that's
It's
one
not.
thing I'll get. Yeah. One thing that people haven't necessarily been calling about, and I haven't even seen really many advertisements about it, but a benefit I've noticed in a lot of states is the benefit where they'll pay your electricity bill, utilities.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen that, and I've
Mhm.
seen, so many people that we talk to are diabetic,
Mhm.
and that counts as a chronic condition.
Mhm.
For those that are requiring there to be a chronic condition before you can use the money towards. I mean, some of them have a food card, but a separate thing for the chronic health,
Mhm.
and they offer all kinds of like pest control and
Yeah. I've
help
seen
with
that too.
internet and utilities, and I mean, just personal helper or, whatever.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of things. It's like, wow. I mean, even I found one for somebody that had help with pet food. I think you had that experience too. You found
Mhm.
one for someone that, to help with pet food and care
Right.
on their pet. So, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, wow. So that was
That's
good to have that
crazy.
flexibility is, I think really, really helpful for
Yeah.
some people. And again, they're not in every area. That's the only, you wish it could be across the board. You could help people everywhere find that much flexibility, but it's not in every
Yeah.
area. So,
Yeah, correct. A lot of these things are state specific, and when people say,
Mhm.
"Oh, I saw a commercial about that food card or the electric bill or whatever it is," I just preface it with, "Look, yeah, these are new benefits." Now, what what I'm going to tell you is that take those commercials with a grain of salt. They are national commercials, and not all of that stuff is available in every state or every situation. But we will. My famous saying is, "I'm the queen of free, honey," and if it's free and it's something you qualify for,
right.
I'm going to find it. So that's my promise, and that's good enough for them, to let's start digging in, right? Because you don't want to kind of hold your, put yourself in a corner with
excuse me.
these benefits and things like that. You don't want to tell them, oh yeah, yeah, we got the cards available, we can get it to you. And it turns out that it's either a situation where either it's not available in their state, or it's for a Medicaid recipient and they're not Medicaid eligible, right? So you just want to be you want to answer their question when they bring things up like that, but you also want to be very general, but yet positive and, forthcoming, and let them know if it's available to you and you qualify for it, you will find it, right? That you know where to go to find it. So, but right, a lot of these things are things, again, that are so new that they're not even being advertised, which I'm shocked at that, like the dog food deal.
I didn't even know about that. The only thing I really knew about was the food card, because I've had a lot of people calling for that.
Yeah, that's a common one. So what you can do as an agent to just search and see what in the heck is even available is to go to the summary of benefits page and just start searching. You can, it's so long. The recommended thing is just start searching keywords. And it'll find those things. Like I start with OTC, because a lot of times the food card stuff will be under that category, or search, additional benefits. And that's how I found in one state, I believe it was Arizona, where it said it would give you $500 a year towards pet food if your dog is coded as a disability dog, or for special needs animal. And then he said, oh, well, I have a dog, he's not special needs. I said, you know what, I bet a quick Google search will help us figure that out. And so we looked it up in his state, and it was super easy to get your dog certified as an special, what's the terminology?
Oh my God. A service dog?
So, yeah, right. Service dog or emotional support animal. So it was super easy. And I forwarded the link, and he was just endlessly grateful, right? He left that call so excited. He didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. So I left that call super excited and pumped and happy to tell anybody who in that state that was eligible for that great stuff that was there. Also, I learned something new. It was just a really positive experience on both ends of it. And then what did I do? I shared it with everybody else. Hey, in this state, there's this crazy benefit, and I'll even tell these clients, look, I'm going to be honest here. I don't understand how pet food relates to health insurance, but hey, I'm not going to question it.
They're
If
feeding
it's
your
free,
pets.
take it, honey. Take it and run with it, right? So if it's helpful to you, then that makes sense to me. So I think sometimes these insurance companies know that people need help with things that really aren't,
areas.
They're right. They're not necessarily related to health directly, but maybe indirectly they do. And it's something that, hey, if it's probably a really small expense to them and they can offer it, it means a lot to someone else. I think they're trying to be as competitive as they can, right? Because if you're in an area with 50 different health insurance plans, advantage plans from 50 different companies, well, what do you do to stand out, right? That guy found that dog food, that was literally the only thing different about his current plan and this other plan I was pitching to him. And that's how I came across it, because I said, you know what, let's just it was ranking higher for some reason. I couldn't figure it out. I did the side-by-side comparison in Sunfire, couldn't find it. So I started digging in the tiny little print. I tell people, well, you know what, just bear with me. I'm reading through the tiny little print. That's my specialty. And they're usually very patient. I said, oh yeah, go ahead. They'd rather you do that than them, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I found it. I started looking up keywords and additional benefits and started just skimming through to see if I can find anything. And that's what it was. And I was shocked, like I said, myself.
That's so crazy.
So, that was enough for him to want to move to that plan, right? So not only did that help me, yes, ultimately it helped me make a sale because I put in the work and did the extra effort to look for that stuff. He allowed me to do that. He said, yeah, you can go for it. If you can find something better, go ahead. And he was just, I think, so impressed with me being able to find that stuff for him. And then again, going even the extra mile to Google how to make your animal a service animal. He'll be my client for life, right?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know me from anybody. Because guess what, honey? ain't nobody that you talk to gonna search like that, right? That's just like top tier service, and that's what we're here to do. And I think working for an agency that allows you to spend the time with your client, it allows you to do that and make that so. Because if let's say if I was working for my previous agency where they're very big on get down to business, minimize the amount of time you're on the phone with this person. If I had been working for that agency, there's no way that would not have been a sale, because there's no way I would have had enough time
to find
without
and book.
Yeah, without feeling pressure to find that little tiny unknown hidden mystery bonus benefit. But we found it, and sure enough, he's a happy camper, and he's going to refer his family out to me. So that's not only a sale that day, but sales to come in the future, so it pays off. Let's see, what else? What are some other weird stuff maybe that you've heard from clients that they want a better plan, or they were looking for something in a plan? Anything obscure or random that you can think of?
I'm trying to think. I'd say the main one is the food card and dental. But we hit those. I can't really think of anything.
Well, I'll tell you some other random things I found. Somebody called in looking for a lift chair.
A lift chair?
Yeah, a chair. It's like a recliner, but it, for people who can't get up really, or their back muscles or their leg muscles are weak, it lifts them. My grandmother had one. It's like a really nice recliner, except it doesn't rock. It has a hydraulic lift where it kind of like tilts up and
just throws
forward.
You out of the chair.
But gently, gently. Yeah, I'm sure you see those on cartoons, but no, gently. And so the funny story with her was that I called her because she clicked on something, probably searching for power chairs. And I called her and said, hey, I'm an advocate. It looks like you're needing some kind of help with Medicare. How can I help you? What's going on? She's like, oh, I don't need help with Medicare. And she hung up on me. And I'm like, oh, fine. Okay. I'll just leave it in rotation. Maybe she didn't like my voice, or that sometimes if you're a female,
just leave it.
Yeah, I just left it for, maybe somebody else to try. And I hadn't even finished making the notes that she said she didn't want my help. She calls back in and they answered and sent it to me. She said, actually, I do need your help. So, and I was like, well, what's up? What do you need? Well, it's not necessarily with Medicare, but like a power lift chair. And I'm like, well, that has to do with Medicare. You're on Medicare, right? And that's actually considered under Part B, durable medical equipment. So, that opened up the conversation, right? And so that's why I tell people, when people say, oh, I don't need your help, or I have it all taken care of, it's sometimes just a knee-jerk reaction, right, to your call, because they don't know who you are. They're just going to assume you're trying to sell them something, or you're a spam caller or something like that. But luckily, she gave me a second chance, and basically, typically the rule with that, obviously, they're never going to list something as obscure as like a power chair in the explanation of benefits.
Yeah.
Again, you just kind of have to know, and this is from doing this a long time, that stuff like that, power chairs, wheelchairs, crutches, even the mattresses, the therapeutic mattresses are all under the that Part B durable medical equipment category. And pretty much it's, you have to, again, try to be as upfront with these clients as possible and give them as much guidance as possible without telling them something that's incorrect or giving them hope. But I do know that those things are under that category. And basically it's, I know for sure they're going to require that a doctor prescribes that to you, and they can. But definitely you want to give the insurance company a call and find out what are the procedures to go about that. Even scooters sometimes, and it's almost like an in-network type of thing where there's certain in-network scooter stores, right, or mattress stores or power lift stores that you can order those things from. So you can give them as much guidance as that, right, without, again,
giving them too much hope.
Yeah, exactly, but guidance and stuff, because I've had people absolutely who've gotten those things approved. But that's why we say when somebody says, they call in saying, I need a mattress, or I need a scooter, your first inclination might be like, oh, wrong place. Like, I don't know how you got to us, but really what they're saying is they need help with their Medicare. That is code for, that's the best way these people know how to say it. I need help with my Medicare, so take it as that, right? Don't, I think if you go into these calls looking to help these people, that will click in your brain. Whereas opposed to agents who are looking for a way out of calls, they'll say, oh, well, we don't do anything with scooters here, mattresses, that's silly. Actually we do, so to speak, right? Because that stuff can be covered by Medicare. And sometimes even simply Googling where to get these things, or, if they have obscure questions that really aren't falling under the category of Medicare, if you can Medicaid people, right? They're like, yeah, I want those extra benefits. And we ask them, are you on Medicaid? And they say, no. Well, it's easy to say, okay, well, then you just don't qualify for it. Well, dig deeper, right? Okay, well, have you ever thought about applying for Medicaid? Do you even know what Medicaid is? And that's the advocacy side of it, right? Digging further, even though that's not Medicare technically, it can turn into that. And I've had so many people say, well, no, I thought Medicare and Medicaid was the same thing. And I'm like, no, and I kind of explain the difference. And then I'll ask, would you say at this point, your total monthly income is more or less than $1,500 a month? And they'll be like, no, honey, I only get Social Security at like $700 a month. I'm having a tough time making ends meet. And you just empathize with them and say, oh gosh, you must know how to pinch a penny. That's really admirable. But did you know that if you just take this one step and get yourself approved for Medicaid, then that opens you up to a world of benefits that are going to make your life so much better, right? And I just kind of go into some very basic, kind of to light a fire under them to apply for Medicaid. Yeah. You can be very general, even though you're not licensed, and even though I'm licensed and I don't have a scope of appointment, you can be very general and say, look, there's plans all over that your doctors would accept, that they have the grocery card, they have the flex card, they have dental coverage. And I'll be like, do you need anything done with your teeth? Yeah, I need one pulled. It's really painful right now. Well, let's take care of you. Let's do this stuff. You need glasses? Yeah, well, we need to get you some money for a free pair, let's take care of that for you. And there's all kinds of things out there. So, but you have to do this one thing so that I can access all of that for you, right? So once you dug in, you want to kind of let them, kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and let them see why they want to, give them motivation to apply for Medicaid, and Google the steps and how to do it in their state and point them in the right direction. And sometimes you have to say, look, put on your piece of paper, put a number 1, Medicaid office, and the phone number, right? And number 2, call Kristen. This is my name. This is my phone number. You're going to call me back, and I want you to let me know. And you just have to be kind of firm with these people, because so many times the reason why they're not on Medicaid is because somebody at the Medicaid office just pushed them around and said something to shove them off the phone, right? And to go to the next person. And they're just not, they're not knowledgeable, and they're not confident in that. And so they just said, well, I'm not going to look for benefits because it doesn't seem like I qualify, or it doesn't seem like anybody wants to help me, because surely if I qualify, they would want to help me. And unfortunately, that's not the case, as we've seen, right? So you kind of also have to empower them, right? And so one of the things, recommendations I'll give to my clients, I said, okay, this is the number you're going to call, okay? You may have to be on hold, just be patient. If you get someone, this is what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them, look, I'm on Medicare, but I also want to apply for Medicaid. I want to submit my application over the phone. And I'll tell them, look, if they give you any pushback or they tell you something you don't understand, you call me, refer to number 2, the step number 2, call me back. I'm your advocate. And if we have to jump on the phone together to do it, we'll do it. And if they let you submit your application, okay, ask them, what's the turnaround time? If they say 5 days and they don't tell you what the status is in 5 days, call them back, because I'll tell them, look, sometimes you have to be the squeaky wheel.
Stay on top of it because they don't care.
Exactly, right. Because and I try not to badmouth, Medicaid systems, but I say, you know what? Some states have it together more than others. And sometimes you have to be the one to tell them how to do their job, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and just empower them, right? Because sometimes these people have gone their whole lives just, being pushed around, or who knows how they grew up, just taking what, is given to them, and they don't even think in their mind that you can ask for things, or if there's something you qualify for, you should demand those things, because you shouldn't have to beg for it, right? And it's not a matter of pride. It's
They qualify for it, like.
Yeah, I say, you know what? The state has decided that you qualify for this, so go get it, right? And and it's always really great. And I've never heard this from you, that there's any judgment on any of your calls, which you have to kind of make them feel like it's a safe zone, right? That it's a judgment-free zone, and sometimes they haven't applied for Medicaid because they're ashamed, or maybe they used to make a lot of money and they were really a productive member of society, an elite member of society, and suddenly they've fallen on hard times, or they didn't plan well, or they lost their nest egg in a bad investment, or with the economy going on, and they're ashamed to apply for those things, right? And you just have to really make these people understand they're in a safe zone, they're in a non-judgmental call with you, because if they don't access those things, they're struggling needlessly, right? And so I think, and my motto is always, leave people better than they came to you, right? And we are able to do that here, spend the time with them and look up resources for them. Not only does it help them put themselves in a better situation when you do all that, it's good karma for you. There's nothing wrong with building up points in the karma bank, right? It'll come back to you, right? And then ultimately it would result in a sale, because if you have taken the time to tell that person, all these steps to do to make sure they're okay, because I promise you, nobody's going to do that. No. Nobody at the Medicare office, nobody at the Medicaid's office is going to do that. And I point that out to them too. You know what? I hate to say it, but nobody at the Medicare office, nobody at the Medicaid office is going to reach out to you and tell you this stuff. I know that. That's why I'm an advocate and I do what I do, right? And they understand that. And once they do that, they will call you back and they will do whatever you say, because they'll know that you have their best interest in mind. They absolutely trust you, and they should, rightfully so, right? And then they're going to be your client for life. They're not going to go anywhere. You know what?
And at that point, it's not even oh, I'm going to have to present this in such a great way and make it come off better than what it sounds. No, they're going to you can not even tell them anything about the plan. Just tell them to plan. They're going to trust you so much that they're just going to be all right, send me up.
Yeah. And these decent plans, they sell themselves. I mean, sometimes I'm a little jealous when I see that, I've seen a plan from a particular carrier. It was $400 a month in total, over the counter, electricity benefits, food benefits. I was blown away. These plans sell themselves, right?
Yeah.
You just have to let them know, hey, there's this kind of stuff out there for you. You just have to do this one thing maybe you didn't know about, Medicaid, or putting off, or been too ashamed to apply for, and you qualify for all this stuff. And again, I tell people to put it in perspective. You know what? You worked all your life, right? Didn't you? Usually the answer is yes. Well, you paid into the system. You paid into the system for other people who needed it. You need it now. Collect on that.
Use it.
You're not, a leech on society. You paid your dues and you paid into that. And now that you need it, use it. That's what it's there for. And so I think the combination of making them feel safe, making them feel not judged, and giving them a peek behind the curtain of what is to come, all they can really truly have if they just do this one thing, will light the fire into them to do it. And then you've done a good thing for them. You've gotten a sale, and you get to go home happy, and you get to tell that story to your family, because it's a great story to have, right? When you make a difference in somebody else's life, it feels so good, right?
Yeah.
It's like a high feeling. It's a high flying feeling. You feel great, right?
Yeah.
And you can bring that story up as examples for other clients, right? It just helps you further in the future. You're giving real life examples for someone who's hesitant to apply for Medicaid, or answer your question about, are they on Medicaid or do they qualify? You can say, well, I'll tell you what, Suzanne from Arizona last week, she was in the same predicament you're in, and she got a $400 a month food card and dental, and she's not going to have any copays. If she goes to the hospital, it's going to pay every dime of it, and she doesn't have a thing to worry about from this point forward. You know what? That builds so much credibility, and I promise you also those people will refer out
They're going to want that.
everybody that they talk to, right? And we've already said, people on Medicaid talk to other people who are on Medicaid, people who are on Advantage plans talk to other people on Advantage plans, people who have dental vision hearing plans talk to other people who have dental vision hearing plans and supplements. They're going to talk, right? And I have had people from all over the country call me back simply because of those things that we do, right? Because when I tell you it's a rarity that people in this business genuinely care, and will take the time with their clients to really go above and beyond to make sure they are truly okay and in a better position. It's absolutely true. And these people know it. They know it because they're the ones who've been pushed aside and hung up on, or, phone appointments missed from Medicaid, so they know this stuff, and you have to know it too, and speak to that. So, but with that, I think that's a really good stopping point. So, again, these are some things to help you figure out what the client wants, even if they are not verbalizing that, or they themselves don't even know. That helps you to kind of help dig it out of them, pull it out of them, and sort it out so that you can get them exactly what they need, and more if possible. But anyhow, this has been Victoria Lewis for today, today's dojo, and say hi to your mom for me.